At one moment, Chris Whitty quite rightly said we should learn to live with like the flu. But then at the same time, we're imposing Stasi-like controls similar to China. Show me your papers to participate in society. This was never normal. That's why at Open for All, we have over 1,000 people, that big chains and small independents that have all signed and said that they're not going to be demanding health papers. Now, this is going to become a problem and it's not going to go away. You mentioned France, the idea of being in Paris and going to a cafe and a restaurant and having to show your papers. Utterly outrageous. It's going to be a problem for the government. People are not just going to take this. That the Prime Minister should know this is absolutely a step too far. And whether they think it's a nudge and then they're playing with livelihoods in hospitality events, theatre and elsewhere, but with the whole of the country. Already there's a petition that's gone up and it's got an enormous amount of traction. But more than that, there are campaigners, there are going to be protests. There's another one happening this weekend. I think the government should really take heed of this. The vaccines has been a remarkable success with its rollout, as you say, and we had 15 million jabs to freedom, we were told. The goalposts have kept changing. This is becoming like psychological abuse, treating citizens as though they're not even children, as though somehow they're prisoners. The idea that we should become an Alcatraz island where we have to show papers everywhere that we go in a biotech state. It's utterly outrageous. And it was the stuff of conspiracy just recently. And now on Freedom Day, so-called Freedom Day, the idea that the Prime Minister presents this as though it's endorsing freedom.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is. I mean, we are in. Pure on. Abusive relationships territory here. That's what I find so extraordinary. But also the people who talk about conspiracy theories and for goodness sake, don't get your knickers in a twist. It's just about keeping people safe. Every single government in the world that has ever brought in measures that restrict the freedom of their people have always done it on the basis that it's to keep people safe. And often people lap it up because, again, if you believe a lot of the psyops that's been going on, then you would think this. But we know that what's happened in countries like China, a totalitarian police state, where the health passports have been extended on an extraordinary scale. We see how they're used for the Uyghur people, but how they're used also for the Chinese people as a whole, where billion plus people are required to carry a card that tells the government everything they buy, everything they do, everywhere they go, and it gives them social credits, giving them more freedom or less freedom depending on whether they are a desirable person or not. This is terrifying stuff. This is Hollywood dystopian movie terrifying stuff. Now, people will say, our government's not going to do that. Well, if you told me 18 months ago that our government would lock us in our homes for 23 hours a day, then I wouldn't have believed you. But I'm genuinely scared for our future freedoms. I'm genuinely scared that my 14-year-old daughter will never enjoy the freedoms that I've enjoyed as an adult. And I don't mean just to go to a nightclub. I mean the right to just be a private person in a free liberal democracy and to go about your business as you choose.
I think it's really essential to know this. This experiment that we've had since the Enlightenment is not static, it's not fixed, and it's not guaranteed. The ideas of freedoms, tolerance, liberty, individual conscience, freedom of protest and speech, these were hard fought gains that have been fought for, many died for. And it's an experiment and we don't always have it. And if we hand over everything about our liberties and our freedoms on the basis of something that now is no longer the case anyway. At the start, we could have that discussion about, lockdown. At this point, it's utterly wrong. And we cannot allow, I would make a point that, on the one, it is bars, clubs, nightclubs, festivals, events, but it is the whole of society. And at this point, we'd really encourage the public to get involved and have their voices.
100%. Can I just say, again, this is the thing, first they came for the nightclubs. If people seriously think that normal life is going to resume, if this is the starting point, then they've got another thing coming. Alan Miller, keep up the fantastic campaigning, co-founder of Recovery and the Nighttime Industries Association, a campaigner Open for All.